We all train to make ourselves and our team better. But how do we train to absorb the shocks of those tough call-outs? As SAR volunteers, we will be better prepared to deal with critical incidents and critical incident stress if we practice proven resilience building techniques. The more we train, the better we become. And the same goes for resilience. We can be proactive before the tasks, and we can be reactive after the tasks.
Before we take a look at how you can build resilience, it's really important that as a search and rescue member, you understand how you adapt your brain in order to deal with the tough SAR calls. A couple things that search and rescue members do without even realizing it is, first of all, becoming much more stoic, setting aside your feelings so that you can function, and also developing a callus over those feelings so that when you get to those tough calls, you have a little bit of cushion and protection. So during a tough SAR call, we are going to park our emotions. We're going to set aside our feelings and focus on functioning. We might even set up a dam to keep those emotions at bay. But it's really important as thinking, feeling beings that after the tough SAR call, when it's safe to do so, that we process those feelings and let them be expressed.
We train and work under consistent, predictable guidelines that help guide our personal decision-making when on task and helps us stay operational. Training within this structure helps create predictable, logic-based behavior that trumps our personal decision-making under extreme circumstances.
We can't emphasize this enough. It is during training that so much of these skills come together, are established and built and strengthened and enhanced. If you can think of resilience as a muscle, kind of like a bicep. Just like a bicep, we can strengthen and enhance it. So how does a search and rescue member and search and rescue team build and enhance its resilience? So for a search and rescue team to build and enhance its resilience, it's really important to recognize the value of what we bring and what we do. Being part of something that is bigger than us and aligns with our moral values really strengthens and enhances our team's resilience. Another thing that SAR teams can do to build and enhance their resilience is to foster really strong relationships. As mentioned, that's done in training, but it is also done in off-SAR task time as well. It's during that time that we build the camaraderie, we establish and strengthen those relationships and get to know each other better, so that in the moments of those tough calls, we've already got the connections, we've already got the safety network, we just need to rely on it. It's also really important that every SAR team prioritize the well-being of its members and their mental health. After every SAR call, regardless of the outcome, search and rescue groups should be doing an operational debrief. It's in that operational debrief where we take a look at what we did, what went well, what do we need to change, improve, add into our training, and do we need to call in CISM?
Recognize the importance of regular training. Remember that under times of stress, our problem-solving, thinking part of our brain isn't easily accessible, and so our skills need to come automatically to us under times of stress. This is only accomplished through regular and consistent training.
By having regular training for its SAR members, you are building and enhancing their resilience. SAR groups that have regular training are building muscle memory. Just like on a rope rescue call when you use a figure-8 knot, you practice that by tying it again and again and again so that your fingers know how to do it properly. Resilience can be built with a SAR group by training regularly.
Learn from past experiences. It's important to have our operational debriefs and find out what went well and where can we improve. But remember, we don't want to get hung up on past mistakes.
It's also vital that search and rescue teams have a plan for the team after the tough SAR calls. This can include a CISM intervention, but it should also include teammates checking in on each other. Another really important element is for all of the SAR members in your group to understand when is CISM going to be called. For example, are there certain types of SAR calls where your group is going to request a CISM intervention? So while it's really important that the search and rescue group has a responsibility to develop resilience, it's also equally important that the SAR member build and develop resilience as well.
As a SAR member, there is a lot that you can do to help foster and strengthen your resilience. We've talked a little bit about training, which is one of the ways that helps build relationship and camaraderie within the team. It also helps prepare you under times of stress to deal with the task at hand.
It's also important that SAR members foster a sense of optimism in all that we do. It can be a real struggle on day 3, 4, 5, or even day 9 on a SAR call to stay optimistic, but that optimism is really vital in terms of our resiliency. Every SAR call that we go on, even the toughest, have some reason to be optimistic and to recognize the value that we've brought. After the tough SAR calls, it's really vital that we look back and see the good things that we've done, the helpful things that we've been able to accomplish, the areas covered effectively, so that the RCMP don't have to go back and research again. These are all ways that we're building our own resilience.
Own what's ours and be realistic in that. We don't want to take on things that aren't ours.
We need to recognize where our limits are and stay within them. We also need to understand that there's times when something's out of our control or out of our hands and leave that be. It's also really vital that each and every SAR member goes away from SAR, either training or tasks, and does those things that totally reinvigorate us and bring us joy and energy.
Take time off in a meaningful way. Do things that help recharge and rejuvenate you.
Another really helpful practice is to plant flowers and pull weeds in our SAR experiences and at home. So planting flowers and cultivating those things that really invigorate and renew us are vital for our well-being. That might be starting a new hobby, making a new friend, or going out and doing something new. Pulling weeds is taking a look at those things in our lives that are no longer energizing us and setting them aside. It might also involve taking a look at those relationships that really don't energize us as well.
And again, have a plan for the tough calls, for you, for the team, and at home.
Just like our muscles if we lift weights. You know, they say no pain, no gain. Resilience can be just like that. Sometimes we have to become weaker to become stronger. When we build good resilience, we are able to bounce back quickly. Just like a rubber ball when you throw it at the wall. But if you throw that rubber ball harder and put more pressure on it, it will bounce back even more quickly. It is vital to remember that critical incident stress is a common normal reaction to the calls that we face as search and rescue members. You, as a search and rescue volunteer, are BC Search and Rescue's most valuable asset. And taking care of yourself is vitally important. If you're struggling at any time, you or your family members can call 1-800-663-3456. Take care of yourselves.